Alright guys, welcome back to another deck video. Today we're going to be going over Moltres. A little background on this deck. When we originally built it, we built it as Moltres Eco Gem. And the reason that we did that is because we thought Eco Gem read where if you ever discarded in like a card due to an attack, instead of going to the discard, it'd go back to your hand. So we thought the Wildfire attack, which reads discard as many fire energies attack to Moltres. If you do mill a top card of your opponent's deck for every one you do. So we thought, oh great, so you just put like 20 fire energies on there, pretty much. You have Wildfire, discard 20 cards, and then they go back to your hand. No, that's not how it actually works. Eco Gem says that when your opponents discard one of your energies, it goes back to your hand instead of the discard. So, a lot worse. However, we decided to keep the deck in the tournament because we said, hey, wouldn't it be fun to just try, you know? Wouldn't it be fun to, like, mill enough of your opponent's stuff to where they can't recover? So, think about all the things that they need to... So the Trump card, right? Trump card's the real reason that mill doesn't work in this format at all. So let's think about all the stuff that is going to need to be milled and your opponent never can draw it in order to win. So the Trump card, obviously, Versus Seeker is your recovery. Item Finder, Junk Arm, Dowsing Machine all need to be milled. Marley's Request needs to be milled. Pal Pad needs to be milled. Let's see, what else? What else? I think that's it. So those are the ones that like need to for sure be milled. If you mill all 7 of those, they can't have any sort of recovery. Mind you, it is scary because they can just sit on that stuff in your hand. They can just sit on a Skylight in their hand, just wait there, and then go, oh cool, Skylight Versus Seeker for Trump card, play it, and then, oh crap, now you have to go through more of your deck. But it's not impossible, right? Like, you can kind of hope and pray, and maybe you mill enough, or maybe you just Wildfire enough. You never know, right? You never know. So there is that. So, onto the deck. Moltres is not necessarily your main attacker, but it's one that's built around Wildfire, discard as many fire energies attached for each one you mill. There is, however, one that we saw when we were looking through, this Magmortar. It's called Topborn. For each energy attached to Magmortar, discard the top card from your opponent's deck. So it's the same thing. But you flip a coin, and if heads, you keep the energies. If tails, they get discarded. So this is just a little bit better because it has 30 more HP, however, you do have to evolve it. So, you know, pluses and minuses to it. I think Magmortar is the one that you're going to be using most often. You're just going to try to, like, go back and forth between these as much as you can. But Magmortar is definitely the one you're going to be using. A 1/1 line, you could consider this as well. You could consider changing the Moltres to another Magmar and going a 2/1 line, and that way you could just cycle between this. Like you could just Magmar this one, and you just have, as long as you have 2 Magmars out, you're fine. This deck does also not play, I'm pretty sure it does not play Victini. It does not, no. So, yeah, we need to, you could play Victini, and you could change the Moltres to a Magmar. Those are 2 things that would be beneficial for this deck. But let's keep going over the Pokemon. We are going to play the 1/1/1 Emboar line to keep all those fire energies that you draw onto Magmortar. You could play a thicker line if you're scared of like the Emboar getting KO'd, which is one thing because if you discard all your fire energies, Moltres isn't the real target. The real target's going to be Emboar. If they take that knockout, like, okay, 1 energy block, or whatever. So, we are going to be playing Execute and a 1/1 Starmie line. These kind of work together with each other. This is if you discard 1 card from your hand, you get 2 energies back from your discard pile, so it's a great way to recycle. The Execute also helps for like the Superior Energy Retrievals and the Super Energy Retrievals. Normally I don't play this kind of card because there's plenty of recovery options, but this deck has so many stuff that's like discard X number of cards to do a cool effect, and then it works well with Space Beacon, just being able to use that Execute over and over again. So that's why we have it in there. But yes, that is it for regular Pokemon. Like I said, you could switch the Moltres to a Magmar, and you could play a Fliptini in here, just to kind of ensure it might be more economically sound for your energies. Support Pokemon, we are going to be playing the standard 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. All these cards are super, super good. You see them in almost every single deck. No reason not to. No reason to play Porygon Z in this deck. That sort of thing. So, yeah, like I said, you could switch this, play a Fliptini. That's the only really Things I would say on that. Otherwise, it is a very streamlined deck. We wanted to keep as much room in the deck as possible for recovery items and that sort of thing. Moving on to supporters. There's a couple key supporters that aren't in this deck, but you'll see why in a second. We are going to play Bebe Search. That's going in there. We are going to play a Blacksmith. Now, one of the things I'll talk about with Blacksmith is we also have, we did not play Kiawe in this deck, because Kiawe is really only good turn 1. It's just going to end your turn, right? Like, it'd be nice to do it right away to get those energies on and then mill them, but I think Blacksmith over the course of the game is going to be more valuable than Kiawe, so that's why we only play Blacksmith and not the other. Not to say that you're wrong by playing Kiawe, because getting that turn 1 just guarantees a 4 off the top of their deck, but hey, you know, whatever. Coal Racing Copycat, pretty standard stuff. Hex Maniac, because you want to accelerate, and then Hex to kind of slow your opponent down a little bit. Haul on Last. Now, this card's actually pretty bananas early game. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. Count the total number of prize cards left between both of your opponents. Look at that many cards on the top of your deck. Choose as many energy cards you like, and put them into your hand. So, since we start with 16 prizes, turn 1 of the game, this is going to take the top 16 cards of your deck and finds all the energies. That is bonkers. The comparable one, Interviewer's Questions, that looks at the top 8 cards of your deck. So not until your opponent has taken... actually, literally, this will always be better because you're not taking prizes, right? This deck is based purely around milling, so you're never going to take prizes. So Haul on Last will always be better than Interviewer's Questions. Kind of crazy how that works out. Karina, going on here. Karina, Marley's Request, and if you notice, usually around here in the videos, there's the L section, because these are alphabetical. You notice there's no Lysander's Trump card, and there's no Lysander. Lysander's Trump card, pretty obvious, like, you could include it for those emergency situations if you're milling yourself faster, but you never really want to give your opponent more cards. And then Lysander is because, you know, we thought about it for a little bit of time, and, yeah, notice there's no Guzma either. Lysander stalling isn't that effective in this format because there's so many ways to switch. There's like AZ, AZ, Escape Rope, Switch, Floatstone. All that stuff is played in this format. Yes, your opponent is going to have to burn more resources to get out of the active, but it's not important and we needed more room for other stuff. If you think we're stupid, because we are, put a Lysander in, put a Guzma in. That's one suggestion that I would make. If that's more, if not playing it scares you, then put one in. But we decided to do the little experiment route and just said, hey, we're going to try to trim the fat and put as much like draw stuff in this deck as possible. We are going to play an Oracle, a Collector, Juniper, Oaks, and Sycamore. All standard stuff are on that row. Rocket's Admin, Rosie's Research. We're going to play a Sages for a little bit of extra draw. Skyla, Teammates, Twins in this deck because you're never going to take prizes. It's going to be great. And Wally. You know, it's a little bit less supporters. What's a 21 supporters? A little bit on the lower side, but without playing Lysander and Lysander's Trump card and Guzma, that bumps you up to your standard 24 count. So taking those 3 puts you back to your normal 21 count. That's why we have 21, sorry. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead and look at items here. We're going to play Acrobike because we don't mind stuff being in the discard pile. Battle Compressor to get those fire energies in the discard for Space Beacon. Discards your Execute. And puts fire in there for Blacksmith. So, Battle Compressor makes sense. Bill, every deck. Computer Search, we are playing an Energy Recycler. If fire energies is in the discard pile, we want them to be in our deck so we can draw into them. Energy Retrieval, get 2 energies straight back. Erica for a little bit extra draw power, blasting through your deck. Evo Soda, pretty staple. Invention, this card's actually super, super good in this deck because if you can manage to put like their trump card over there, especially their trump card, if you can prize their trump card, you will win, like period, because you'll just mill a whole bunch of cards every turn. Like if you can mill an average of like, I don't know, like 10 a turn, which is not out of the question between all of the superior energy retrievals, Space Beacon, Blacksmith, that sort of thing, and plus the ones you naturally draw into, it's not out of the question that if you mill their trump card, that I would say you guarantee win. So there's that. Item Finder and Junk Arm, both here. Level Ball, Luxury Ball, standard stuff. Misty's Wrath for draw power. Gonna have a Pokemon Communication. Gonna go ahead and look at 4 cards in a row, all the recovery options now. Time Space Distortion, Rescue Stretcher, Pokemon Rescue, and Pokemon Retriever. That's so you can not only like easily get your Emboar out if it dies, but your Moltres back over and over again if it gets KO'd, plus your Magmortar. The more I want to talk about it, the more I think a 2-1 line is smart. But anyways, there's those. Professor Oak and Scoop Up. we're going to have Superior Energy Retrieval and Super Energy Retrieval. When this card came out in Standard, I was really upset that it wasn't named Super Energy Retrieval because I wanted to play the old ones. But in this scenario, awesome. I'm glad they're named different. Super Rod for some extra recovery. Switch, Swoop, Ultra Ball, and Versus Seeker to round it out. There is no Field Blower or what have you. The only thing that this deck would hard lose to in that case would be Garbodor decks. But Field Blower is not going to be that big of a deal because, you know, there's nothing that you're really, like, scared of that you need to get rid of. We're looking for, we don't, like, this deck is built around, we don't care what our opponent's playing, we just want to mill cards. Moving on to Stadiums, there's only 2. Broken Time Space to get your Emborb up quicker, and then Scorched Earth, because this deck does play a lot of fire energies, it would make sense just to have that a little extra draw power. Tools, Fluffy Berry, Float Stone, and Rescue Scarf. Rescue Scarf to keep your Moltres coming back over and over again, and then having your multiple ways of retreating. Items, or sorry, the extra 4 here, we're going to be looking at Superior Energy, Super Energy Removal, Goop, and Dowsing. No Gust of Wind, same reason for the Lysander and a Guzma. It's kind of like the same thing there. And then Energies, this is awesome. We're going to play a Burning Energy, super good in this deck, but we're going to be looking at 3, 6, 9, 10, 3, 6, 9, 22 energies. That's a whole bunch of energies, but the good thing about the energies is when you get them in their hand, they always, like, usually for energy main decks, when you get an energy in your hand, like, alright, where does this get attached to? In this deck, it's like, alright, there's my Magmortar, alright, there's my Moltres, like, bam, 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 that's where they go. So, having 22, they're, after, like, the second or third turn, clumping up your deck, they will be mostly on the field or in the discard pile. So that does it. Like I said about those changes, if you're looking at just focusing it more on Magmortar, go for it. But Magmortar, Moltres, those are your 2 main dudes there. If you have any other questions, please let us know. If not, hope you enjoyed the list.